How's it going, everyone? Are you doing good? Did you eat today? No? Well, you better go fuck. Today we're going to be exploring one of the major plot points introduced in the Kingdom Hearts Dark Road finale. A long time ago, since my very first theory video, I've essentially been wondering what is Sora's major role in this upcoming saga outside of just being the MC. And realistically, we haven't really gotten too much of a definitive answer on that front. Sure, you could put bits and pieces together to try to theorize about it, but nothing from the series itself yet. That is until recently, in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road of all places. Now, it's no secret that Nomura was in his bag when creating this finale. Dare I say, its story is even better than 358 in 2 days? Now, there are a lot of major plot points that all could take up a span of a video in and of themselves, but in today's video we will be looking specifically and exclusively at who and what this so-called Child of Prophecy is. And to understand that, we need to explain why Xehanort had such potential to become this, but inevitably ended up becoming a failure. I hope you guys got your popcorn, because this is going to be a pretty lengthy one today. And like always, let's get right into it, shall we? In the epilogue of Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, we see toddler Nort snuggled up next to the old hooded figure, or his mentor. It is here where the idea of the Child of Prophecy is first introduced into Kingdom Hearts. The mentor goes on to tell Xehanort that they believe that he will become the Child of Prophecy, a special child that saves the world from darkness. Also, as a quick side note, Child of Prophecy, Child of Destiny, tomato, tomato, same thing. You get what I'm saying. We're all on the same page. Good? Great. You will meet and interact with many people, and those interactions will shape your emotions, your thoughts, and lead you on your destined path. Xehanort's mentor explains that in their first life, there was a book that told about future events that were to come, known as the Book of Prophecies. This book had been given to a close friend of theirs. However, most of its contents would remain a secret to them. This close friend, of course, being Brain, referring to the moment when Ava would give Brain the Book of Prophecies instead of Strelitzia. In their second life, however, his mentor learned of the passage that stated that light would expire and darkness prevail, but that the Child of Prophecy would change this outcome. They would have the ability to feel, share, and embrace what others felt in their hearts, and even connect their hearts with another's to become one, as well as that they would hail from the Isles of Destiny. Xehanort goes on to tell his mentor that he wishes to see the children from his dreams. Those children, of course, being the Union leaders. And it is here that Nomura pulls the biggest bait and switch in the entire series, revealing to us that it was not Xehanort who our player character from Union Crossers were born as, but Xehanort's mentor instead. The reason that we, as well as Xehanort himself, thought this entire time that they were his memories were because Xehanort had unlocked a special rare power that allowed him to connect and see the emotions within people's hearts. Without knowing that he's used this power, he connected with his mentor's heart, aka our player character. And the memories and feelings that he was seeing was not his, but rather theirs. When his mentor hears this, they pull him in tight, overcome with joy. The awakening of this new ability, mixed with the fact that Xehanort is a descendant of Ephemer, convinced his mentor without a doubt that Xehanort would indeed become the Child of Prophecy, the Master of Light. However, as we all know, that would turn out to not be the case. That being said, his mentor was not just spouting off nonsense. Xehanort did indeed have the potential to become the Child of Prophecy at one point, but unfortunately, he wasn't strong enough. And before you all pick up your keyblades in anger, let me explain a little bit. Looking in the grand scheme of things, it would appear that Xehanort checks a majority of the boxes for what would essentially make one the Child of Prophecy. Meeting and interacting with many? Check. Gaining the ability to feel, share, and embrace what others felt in their hearts? Check. Hailing from the Isles of Destiny? Kinda? Saving the world from darkness? No. At the end of Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, which, by the way, I don't know if I have to say this, but for the sake of my sanity when reading the comments, obvious spoiler warning, obvious. At the end of Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, it is revealed that Xehanort's classmate Baldur had been taken over by darkness. Having shared the same unique ability as Xehanort, he was able to connect and see with people's hearts. And we will come to find out that having this gift is both a blessing and a curse. While with his sister, he was able to peer into her heart, seeing that it was filled with the purest purest of light, without a single trace of darkness. However, when he looked in his own heart, he saw that there was darkness. Scared, he thought that there was something wrong, until he ran into others who, just like his sister, contained hearts that were pure of light, an example being Ericus. Because of this, he came to the conclusion that there are simply people who are pure light and people who have darkness. And to this end, it is extremely unfortunate, because we've all known since the very beginning of the series, every single heart has darkness in it.
The Heartless?
The ones who attacked you, you remember?
Those without hearts.
The darkness in people's hearts. That's what attracts them.
And there is darkness within every heart.
It's just a matter of to what degree. Later on, even Ericus, who was convinced just as much as Baldur that his heart was pure light, came to realize that there was in fact some darkness in some way, shape, or form. Considering that darkness sprouts from basic human emotions, it's only natural. Baldur's sister would soon be defeated by darkness disguised as Maleficent, which, no shade to Maleficent, but I did immediately think something was a little bit fishy when it appeared as if she took out all 4 Keyblade wielders. They all lost to Maleficent? Like, she lost to a fresh out of the oven, piping hot new Keyblade wielder like Sora, back when he was untrained and swinging the Keyblade like a baseball bat. Moving on, using this chance while he was vulnerable, they would force Baldur deeper and deeper into accepting his darkness. This goes back to what the Master of Masters has told Luxu when talking about the darkness for the first time all the way back in Union Cross. That darkness can be the most unpredictable. It can even take the form of many, even humans, hiding among us. Falling to darkness, he would go on to manipulate Vidar into attempting to summon Kingdom Hearts, purging the worlds and returning everything back to darkness. This is all starting to sound a little bit too familiar. Keep that thought in the back of your mind. Vidar and the upperclassmen would go on to keep tabs on Xehanort and his classmates, watching them suffer and struggle in the face of darkness to make sure that their lights shined bright and that they were the lights that they needed to summon Kingdom Hearts. Although their persuasion skills were pretty low, because they could only get Vor to join their cause, with Erd going on the L+ ratio Vala when she tried to recruit her. However, Vidar would get cold feet and give up on summoning Kingdom Hearts, and when the darkness sees this, they decide to take matters into their own hands, straight up murdering all 11 of Xehanort's classmates. Yes, and Kingdom Hearts is a kid's game though, right? This is the same game with Donald, Goofy, and Mickey Mouse? Yep. After seeing his classmates, people he had cared for, taken right before his eyes, Xehanort made the final decision to not cast the darkness away, but rather end Baldur's life, taking the darkness with him to his grave. Later on, after all is said and done, a black hooded figure shows up, revealing themselves to be Bragi, Xehanort's supposedly dead classmate. Nomura then shows yet again the reason that we look at every little pixel of detail as important, and that by simply switching one letter around, it all makes sense. You think you're strong enough to beat me? As if. I might be looking too into that line. I'm gonna hold out.
If I had a Keyblade, it'd be different.
It'd be wasted on you.
As if.
That's right, Bragi this entire time was Luxu in this time period, doing as Luxu does and watching everything unfold while keeping a close eye on his Keyblade. But pay attention to what Luxu says, because it is extremely significant to this whole plot of this so-called Child of Prophecy. Tough luck, no chosen one yet. What does he mean by this? Well, let's have a look at the Kingdom Hearts 3 secret reports, specifically number 12. This report, more or less, is Luxu talking about his task with having to bequeath his Keyblade and constantly take over vessels to follow it throughout history. But let's look at the very last little bit here. Somewhere in this cynical history of bequeathings, a chosen one will appear and reenact the Keyblade War. When this scapegoat arrives and takes my Keyblade in hand, that will be the time for me to take the stage and finish my role. Okay, so what exactly does this mean? Going based off Luxu's reactions to the events that have unfolded, saying tough luck, no chosen one yet, it's safe to assume that at some point during all of these events, Luciu was convinced that someone was going to be the chosen one, the scapegoat. And of course, that scapegoat was supposed to be Baldur, and in some way Vidar. At least, Luciu thought that they were. Remember, Luciu did not have a copy of the Book of Prophecies. All he knows is that there would be a chosen scapegoat that would reenact the Keyblade War and summon Kingdom Hearts. He didn't know when, where, or who it would be. Everything was going according to plan. Light was expiring and darkness was prevailing. But Xehanort, of course, inevitably ended up stopping Baldur. He never got to the point of summoning Kingdom Hearts. And after seeing this, Luciu was saddened to see that that time had not yet come. But looking back on it all, Xehanort made a conscious decision to end Baldur's life, instead of attempting to cast out the darkness. After seeing many of his loved ones taken from him, in this exact moment, Xehanort had chosen his destined path. And because of this, Luciu had seen that not all hope had been lost. Xehanort could be useful. In a previous video, I talked about my thoughts and predictions as to why Xehanort had gone to such extremes to do what he did. Many aspects I overshot the mark a little bit, but many I was right on the nose with, which tends to be how most of my theories work. They end up being about 50-50. I digress. Specifically with the loss of his classmates to darkness and seeing the darkness pollute the world. The world was too far gone, and having learned from Master Odin, Xehanort would then turn to Kingdom Hearts to purge the world and start from scratch, leading Xehanort to, of course, creating the Keyblade War and becoming the scapegoat that Luciu had spoken of. So, now that we have the context, what exactly does this have to do with the story of the Child of Prophecy? Well, remember earlier when I said that Xehanort could have become the Child of Prophecy but wasn't strong enough? I didn't mean in physical strength. We've all seen his demonstration of that, but what I meant was his strength of heart. Going back to Toddler Nord and his mentor, they had a few more choice words to share on the subject. Through your journey, you will connect with many others the same way that you did with me, but not all hearts are good. Some may poison yours and move you to feel fear and hatred, hurt and sorrow, even the torment of loved ones being lost. Of course, as we've just covered, Xehanort would go on to experience all of this. So in terms of becoming the Child of Prophecy, so far so good. But wait, there's more. You will be tested by darkness time and time again, but still, you must press on. In time, your path will lead you onto light and fellowship. Okay, so far so good. That is, until this last little bit here. You will be tested by darkness time and time again, but still, you must press on. It is this step in which Xehanort had failed. Darkness had pushed Xehanort, tested his heart continuously more and more, and when faced with the final and most extreme test, he had made the wrong decision. Darkness had broken him, and instead of attempting to save Baldur, he ended up to just take his life, beginning the long chain of extremes and sacrifices that he would make. And thus, Xehanort had failed to become the Child of Prophecy who would save the world from darkness, instead turning to the darkness himself. This instance, in fact, is the key difference between Xehanort and the true Child of Prophecy, Sora. We can even with confidence say that if Sora was put in this exact same position, he would not end Baldur. Sora's views have been concrete since the very beginning when his own friend was taken over by darkness.
You see, darkness is the heart's true essence.
That's not true! The heart may be weak, and sometimes it may even give in. But I've learned that deep down there's a light that never goes out.
Let's take everything we know of the Child of Prophecy and run it past our baby boy Sora. Meeting and interacting with others? Also check. I would say even more so than Xehanort. They would have the ability to feel, share, and embrace what others felt in their hearts. Sora has shown to have this ability ever since the very beginning of the series.
Just stop it! You treat people's hearts like bottles on a shelf, but they're not. They're what make me strong.
Duh. You're strong because of the ties you have with other people. As if the Keyblade would choose a wimp like you.
I know the Keyblade didn't choose me, and I don't care. My friends, they are my power!
God, I just love when Sora gets serious. Gives me goosebumps every time. But again, just as I said before, when Sora would be put in the exact same position as Xehanort, his answer would be different. This right here is more evidence to that. The fact that Sora states things like this is a testament to his strength of heart. He could have easily given up to the darkness in this moment. but he didn't. They would even be able to connect their hearts with another's and become one. Again, from the very beginning of this series.
You must give the princess back her heart.
What's...
Kyrie's heart rests within you.
Kyrie's inside me?
Sora! Hey, can you hear me?
I heard your voice. It cut through the darkness around me.
Huh.
All alone, I followed the sound into a sea of light.
Are you sad?
Would you mind if I stayed here with you?
Sure, if it'll make you feel better.
Thank you.
And they would hail from the Isles of Destiny. I would say that this fits Sora more so than Xehanort, because Sora was quite literally born at the Destiny Islands, while Xehanort was born at Skylight Kylum and brought to Destiny Islands in the future. And of course, the final passage stating, "In the future will darkness prevail and light expire," but that the child of prophecy would change this outcome. As we all know far too well by this point, the whole catchphrase of this Keyblade War for game upon game was that darkness will prevail and light expire. It was those words that were constantly lingering over us for every single game all the way up to the Keyblade War. And when the time finally came, Sora not only changed the outcome, but so much so that light won in such a significant battle that at the end of it all, no light had expired. In fact, we even gained a few, and that darkness expired instead. Well, except for Sora, of course. Even so, 13-1? I'll take those stats. And the most crucial piece of all, not all hearts are good. Some may poison yours and move you to feel fear and hatred, hurt and sorrow, even the torment of loved ones being lost. You will be tested by darkness time and time again, but still, you must press on. Again, with the parallels that I just love so much. Even more so when Nomura does it for me. The exact same events that happened to Xehanort in the past happened to Sora, almost to a T. Xehanort was tested by the darkness in Baldur's heart, watched his loved ones get taken right before his eyes, and when faced with the final test, he chose instead to give up and embrace the darkness in himself. Sora would be tested by the darkness in Xehanort's heart. He too would watch all of his loved ones get taken right before his eyes. But unlike Xehanort, he did not give up. He did not give in to the darkness. Even his friends knew that the words he was saying did not match the feelings in his heart.
They're gone. Kyrie, Donald, Goofy, the king. Gone forever. What do we do? Alone? I'm worthless.
Sora, you don't believe that. I know you don't.
You see? I had no doubts that you'd pull through.
The light in the darkness. It was you. You're the one who kept me from fading away.
All I did was believe that you wouldn't.
In addition to this, it is known that Xehanort has had knowledge of this supposed person this entire time. As shown when speaking to Master Ericus, he even thought that Ventus would be the one, because he was a special boy. With all of this knowledge that we have now, these scenes at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 take on a completely different meaning than we originally felt.
The world needs someone to stand up and lead. Someone strong. To stop the weak from polluting the world with their endless darkness. Someone to dictate their destiny.
If so, you're not that person, Xehanort.
You're not the child of prophecy. Sora is.
Very well done.
Very well done. You've prevailed in the face of darkness, and when shown the pain, the torment, being tested by darkness over and over again. My darkness, you pressed on. And as we all know from the very first game with Ansem to the second game with Xemnas and building the organization all the way to the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, Xehanort was in some way, shape, or form the cause of all of the darkness testing Sora. And when looking at it from this perspective, maybe that was his plan all along. Maybe Xehanort this entire time was testing Sora, quite literally, hoping to draw out his true nature, the child of prophecy, just like Luciu did back in his time. Who knows? That's definitely a thought that'll have to wait until another day, because we are going way beyond our time limit already. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of yet another video. And of course, with the infamous question, do you guys believe that Dark Road should be remade, or are you in the same boat as me and you simply believe that this should just be Kingdom Hearts from now on? Go ahead and let me know what you think. And like always, it's been Val, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.